Hey, I'm Dakota with the Arclight Dynamics tech team, and today I'm going to show you how to use the router on the Flashcut CNC control system. When you get your router kit, there's a few things you're going to need to do to set that up. So the first thing you're going to need to do is pull off the torch mount, and you're going to need to put on the router mount. Then you'll slide on your shroud to be able to get that over and maintain the dust and shavings from the routing operation. We'll also need to set up our sacrificial plane on our router support bars, and our router support bars will sit on these towers here. From here, you can screw your plate, or whatever you're routing, in this case wood, onto your sacrificial plane. I also have some cardboard set inside the bottom of the pan here to make sure I can catch all that dust and debris that we're getting from routing. That way it doesn't go into the water when we decide to go back to plasma cutting. We're going to start by going into Flashcut 10. Once we're in Flashcut 10, we're going to go to CNC. We're going to connect the controller. And after we got the controller connected, we're going to home the table. We'll also want to set up our setup file. So we'll need to go to the configuration icon, hit load, and select our router setup file. From here we can go into CAD. In CAD, we'll go to File, New, and this is going to be a 3D part. Then from here, we'll bring in an Arclight shield, and we'll turn that image into a vector. So we'll import a silhouette, find our Arclight shield. We'll start throwing a toolpath, or a vector, on this particular drawing. We can approve that. Then we'll see the 3D dimensions for this drawing. Now for here, I want the outside to be the thickness of the material that I'm routing. So I have 1.5 inch wood on here right now. I'm going to set this just slightly thicker than 1.5 inch. That way when I go to route this, I get through the material all the way. So instead of saying 1.5 inch, I'm going to say 1.6 inches. This takes the whole drawing and moves this up. So now I need to take the inside of the drawing and move it down because I want to inset that into this part. I can hold Control and do multiple selection. Then I can tell it the offset for this interior routing part. And I want this to be 1/2 inch into the material. So we'll go -0.5. Now we can see that that's inset in there. And I'm happy with this operation so far, so I can send this over into CAM to start telling it how it's going to route this operation. So for getting this set up, it's going to immediately start throwing a toolpath on there based off of whatever settings we have already loaded in, but we'll need to go in and fine tune this. So we'll go to the project settings first, and we'll set our default cutting fab head as the router. We'll approve that. Then we'll go into the material settings, and we need to set this based off of the area we're working in. So we want to make sure our project fits within this area. So I'm going to set this up because this is a 7x7 part. I'm going to set this up in a 12x12 area, and the thickness being 1.6 inches, since that's what I've set for the material for this job as well. Now I need to start setting up my toolpath for this operation. So on the left side here under Objects, we're going to see our operations here. And we can start going in and kind of fine-tuning this. So right now I have a rough adaptive and a finishing. If I want to go in and add an operation, I can also go in and add operations at the top here by clicking on this plus. And I can add operations like parallel, flat lens, finishing, pencil, whatever kind of operation I want to set in here. Then from there, I can go in and fine tune that process 2, specifically which tool I want to run, and the tolerances, feeds, and step down that I want to run for the specific operation. I can also choose on whether or not I want to actually have it execute this operation or see this operation by view here or execute right here. I can see my operation on there, and I can see that I'm not quite fitting my toolpath in on the inside of this part. So it tells me that our kerf width is too big to be able to fit in some of these areas. This can be easily overcome, so I can go over into CAD and oversize the inside of my part. I'm going to go in and break this whole part apart by ungrouping all. And expanding the inside of this operation. And I'm also going to make this whole part bigger. So I'm going to set this as a 10-inch by 10-inch part. We can go back into CAM and look at the toolpath that it's throwing in on this part. From here I can see that we're routing out the whole part, and we're getting the toolpath to fit in all the areas we need it to. We're going to move our part into place too, and making sure that our path is fitting around the whole outside of the part as well. That way it's fitting it within the material area we've told it to. Now I can see that I have a finishing pass on the outside edge and a rough adaptive and finishing on the inside edge. I'll need to go in and set some holding tabs to make sure our part doesn't fall out when we start this. When we're adding holding tabs, we want to make sure we're adding the holding tab to make sure we can secure our part within the material we're routing. That way we don't lose control of it when we finish the operation. So I'm going to go to the Add Tab section, right-click, and approve the part. And I'm going to tell it the number of tabs that I want. Then we'll have our two holding tabs set at the bottom of our part and at the top of our part. To make sure that this part is going to route out correctly, I'm going to go to the simulation button and simulate this operation, making sure that it's going to finish this operation correctly. I'm going to go in and check my operations now. I'm going to start by checking my rough adaptive. In here, I have my depth, my step down, and my feed rate, and then my plunge rate in between depths, as well as heights for this operation. I can go in and adjust this feed rate and step down based off of the thickness and type of material I'm routing, but right now 1/4 inch depth at 100 inches per minute is perfect for this operation, so we're going to go ahead and approve that. Then we'll go to our finishing, and we'll check those values as well, making sure we have the same tool and we have the same values as what we're setting for our rough operation. And this looks good too, so we can go ahead and approve this. Now from here we can run this over into CNC, and we'll go ahead and route this out. So we'll start by moving the router over to where we want to route this out. We'll hold Control to get control of the manual controls. And we're going to lower the bit down to where it just touches the material. In order to zero the bit, the easiest way I have found is setting a piece of paper under the bit and lowering the bit down until it causes the piece of paper to be stuck between the bit and the material I'm routing. After I've got the paper stuck there, I can zero out this operation. I can hit set and zero all. Then I can raise the bit back up so I can remove the paper. Now that I've got this operation ready to run, I'm going to set my dust collection system in place so when I run this I can catch all those shavings. Then we can go ahead and turn on our dust collection system and we can hit play. And that's how we use the Flashcut CNC control system for our router.